In case you're new, I'm making a gravity bending, puzzle, Metroidvania, controller breaking rhythm game. I just want to start off by saying thank you so much for your support. My expectations have been just blown out of the water completely. Back in February, I would have never dreamed of surpassing this amount of wishlist or subscribers, people playing. It's actually crazy. I wish I could be as active as I'd like, because I've been kind of offline lately, especially in the Discord and TikTok and everything. But, midterms have been kicking my ass, low-key, high-key. I thought I had a lot of feedback last time, but goddamn, from looking at the feedback, a lot of people had frustration with the combat. I could categorize the feedback into the following. People didn't find the pocket mirror, which allows you to parry, and they would get screwed over by enemies that were meant to be fought with the parry. The enemies had too little wind up, so they would just surprise you, and there needed to be more visual elements, and it's not rhythmy enough. So I thanked myself for not entering the next fest, because I want to have the most polished demo I can. And then I got to work on demo version 1.4. Now, I'm not going to act like I fixed everything, but I tweaked some things. Basically, I added these Osu rings that would shrink before an enemy starts an attack. I think that's the most helpful thing. I wanted it to be subtle, right? It's not exactly on time. They don't stand out. The ring is just to tell you, there's an attack coming, and I still expect you to kind of feel the beat. I also added a metronome on screen, and I deleted a bunch of these annoying guys that no one likes. Some non-combat stuff that people suggested was being able to pan the map instead of just rotating it. Yes, I completely agree. Some people suggested changing Stephanie's proportions. No. Someone suggested a dialogue logbook system where you can see past conversations. Why didn't I think of that? People also suggested some accessibility related things like inverting the y-axis, which I had no idea people actually did, and people reported some general motion sickness. I'll figure something out with the camera, I promise. I'll make settings. Now, allow me to tell you an embarrassing story about me trying to optimize the game. Actually, can it really be called optimization if you're just going from dumb to less dumb? When I think of optimizing, I think of the pinnacle of performance, the absolute minimum or maximum of the curve. Getting from here to here doesn't really strike me as optimal. Anyway, there's something slightly dumb about Metro Gravity right now. Everything in the entire map is loaded at once. What? Okay, it's not that bad. I do have a room system which activates and deactivates certain things like enemies, doors, puzzles, stuff like that. If everything was actually loaded at once, like the enemies and physics and NPCs, it would just be a slideshow. The reason I left it like this for so long was I'm thinking to myself, the CPU is not running the inactive things, right? Because I turned them off. And I can just rely on my trusty occlusion culling algorithm to not draw stuff behind walls. I'm so smart, see? It runs fine on my end. It runs fine on my end. The problem is, the stuff you cannot reach is just in an idle state, but it's still there. What we want is for it to be completely gone as far as your computer is concerned. Trying to fix this wasn't exactly a simple click of a button. Oh no, it was a simple click of a button, but I clicked on everything in the entire game multiple times. Every wall, floor, lamp, rock, tree, wall, you name it. This was so that I could add it to Unreal's data layer system, which would allow me to load and unload parts of the map as you move around, if I knew what I was doing. Now, it's not just adding it to a layer. The engine would track every reference and dependency that objects have, so it wouldn't allow you to point to an unloaded actor. Now, you can imagine that it was a massive, labor-intensive, web detangling headache involving 1,600 objects. Also, just like a real spider web, unfathomable ass bugs start to appear, like stuff randomly disappearing, events just not occurring, objects being placed in completely random positions, enemies spawning twice, error after error after error. I bashed my head against the screen trying to get it to work, and then it finally did. Holy shit, all I gotta do is build it. Now, to preface, game engines have what's called a debug build for me, the developer, which gives me handy things the player doesn't see, like, error messages. And it also has a built shipping version on your computer. If I get a bug with the shipping build, I have no idea why, because it's not the version where I can debug it. Also, instead of taking half a second, every time I test a shipping build, it takes at least 3 minutes. I gotta pull out the scientific method, like hypothesis, fucking take notes, make the most of it. Anyway, I played the shipping build, so far so good, until I noticed it felt a little empty. The mushrooms, grass, and the plants were all gone. Wait, no, they're here, only on some walls? Okay, so I spend an entire day trying to fix this, only to realize this key fact. Keep in mind, I don't know what I'm talking about. Objects in data layer A have nothing to do with anything in data layer B, no matter what. That means if someone in data layer A does a line trace to detect something in layer B, which is what the mushrooms are doing, it just thinks that nothing is there. Whatever. I obviously have a genius plan. What if I pass the torch of doing the line trace to someone else, like an overseer that is aware of both data layers and just reports back the information that this guy needs to place the mushroom there? Turns out the engine saw my master plan. He was 2 steps ahead of me. Something, the entire map gets deleted, not good. And then I returned to a previous version. So I was pissed. I took a few days off, you know, spent a long time on this, all that hard work. Then I just used another approach, which I should have done in the first place, the old way of doing it, I think, as in Unreal Engine's sub-level system, where you just separate the world into sub-levels. Way easier, no problems at all. Should have just done this. The moral of the story is, wishlist Metro Gravity, and if something you're trying to do starts breaking random shit elsewhere, maybe try something else. Okay, I did lie a little bit. Performance was not the biggest concern. I didn't have that many people telling me the game couldn't run. But it's still a good idea to do what I did. Having the ability to turn off and on parts of the world, I immediately noticed the engine felt smoother to work in. It just gives me motivation. Like, I just feel good about the project. I got a ton of motivation, inspiration, discipline, shit like that, you know what I'm saying? It made me develop faster. Speaking of faster, I recently developed this habit of planning what to do and ordering my tasks, like, oh, I'll do the boss after I have the music. Oh, I'll do this area after that. I'll do the puzzles and then the enemies and then the boss and then I'll do all the side quests. You know, eventually the more you say that, you get stuck not doing anything because you arbitrarily decided that you were going to do B after A and you don't want to do A right now. A long time ago, someone DM'd me on Instagram, I think, maybe it was TikTok. They asked me how I get so much stuff done so fast, and I told them, as if I'm some guru who can give life advice, that I pick something to work on, and if I get stuck, I just switch to another area. Thankfully, game dev, my hobby, is multidisciplinary, so really there's always something you can do. You know, if you have writer's block, modeler's block, animator's block, musician's block, you can always just switch lanes, like on a highway. Wait, I have an idea. Why don't I take my own advice and just do that? So here's what I've been working on. Progress has been good, could be faster, you know. I'm just gonna give you like a tease of a bunch of stuff. Here's some locations. Here's some enemies. So much stuff has been added that I may need to make a new trailer. The one right now is a bit outdated. It even says it's releasing in 2024, but like, no fucking way. So, thank you very much for watching. Wishlist Metro Gravity. Like, share, subscribe. Bye.